Sponsored by Squarespace.
おいで。おとなしくしててね。
You are looking at the most iconic quiet scene in cinematic history. Near the end of Spirited Away, protagonist Chihiro boards a train through the spirit world. After an entire movie inside the bustling bathhouse, the tranquility of this scene is striking. And so, for the next minute and a half, we ride with her. This scene has no narrative purpose. It's you and your uninterrupted thoughts. It's a moment to think about life. This quietness is not foreign to Hollywood. The 1982 Conan the Barbarian, as an example, features long travel sequences. In these shots, the film takes a breather and let the landscape speak for itself. Conan himself doesn't speak a word until 23 minutes into the movie, and when he finally speaks, it is epic.
Crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and hear the lamentation of their women.
In the 1978 movie Superman, young Clark Kent says goodbye to his mom. The nearly 3-minute farewell is told mostly through a single still shot. Dotted this moment is a few simple lines which can be entirely removed. The painting-esque visual, the body language, and the hesitant pace of the narrative are enough to tell the story. Today, however, we seem to have forgotten what stillness feels like. In this flashback from Ant-Man 3, the Wasp retells her memory of befriending the antagonist. It's a quiet scene where emotions flow.
I told her I was coming home.
And yet, instead of sharing a drink or doing anything, they sit still, and the scene is entirely dialogue-driven.
We're going to get out of here.
Worse yet, it's a sequence with unnecessary voiceover.
I saw his mind. I felt what he had done. Entire worlds, entire timelines gone. Like they never even existed.
Everything she says, we can see. You can almost watch the movie with your eyes closed. Such is the norm in Hollywood blockbusters today, even in movies I love.
You know, when you left, I lost my family. I've been fortunate enough to find another. And I wish nothing less than that for you.
Even in movies I think are great.
So, I would like my name to be Lila.
That's a pretty name, Lila.
It's all non-stop yapping. What changed? Of the most striking silence from Hollywood, my favorite is the 10 minutes leading up to the Battle of Helm's Deep. From afar, the Orc horde approaches. Wind, lightning, rain. The characters withhold their words, but the visual speaks loudly. The end is near, it says. This quiet foundation builds anticipation, and the battle feels more intense as a result. It's upon this silence, filmmakers crafted some of the most suspenseful moments. With larger-than-life actions and awe-inspiring destruction. That's not to say dialogues are always bad. In fact, even expositions have their place.
The terminal is in a black vault lockdown. The only person allowed in the room has to pass through a series of security checks.
A crucial part of any heist film is the setup of the heist.
The third system is on the floor and is pressure sensitive. The slightest increase in weight will trigger the alarm.
The straightforward exposition ensures that the rules are clear and unbreakable. So, when the characters brush against these rules, it's extra exciting. Still, when the action gets going, it's quiet. Dialogue can be fun.
Take car, go to Mum's, kill Phil, sorry, grab Liz, go to the Winchester, have a nice cold pint, and wait for all this to blow over.
And yet, for as loud as Shaun of the Dead is, it knows when to shut up.
We just have to be extra quiet then.
Indeed, my issue with movies today, especially with recent Hollywood productions, isn't the dialogue, but the lack of dynamic range. Like a roller coaster that only goes downhill, without the quiet anticipation of the climb, the drop wouldn't be fun. This is the longest stretch of silence in Inside Out 2, and it's only 30 seconds long. Here, Joy is at her most desperate. Instead of diving inward for emotions, she has to outwardly express her feelings, using her words.
Come on, please. What am I missing?
Every single scene in this movie is yapping.
Have room for breathing.
To your return. Are you?
Better than any. Okay, Miss Riley.
I find it deeply ironic that a film that deals with emotions refuses to stop and let us be with our own thoughts.
You did. Wait, you're right. I did.
All that's to say, a picture is worth 1,000 words. That is why, if you are running a business, you need a website with Squarespace. I mean, what else are you gonna do? Give your resume to your client? No, you need a website with big professional photos, accompanied by customized colors and fonts. You need to show off your brand, your personality. Luckily, with Squarespace, that couldn't be easier. With professionally designed pre-made templates, Squarespace offers you a great starting point to achieve the best results you need. The editing process is nice and simple, allowing incredible customizations, even in untrained hands. You can post photos, videos, and start an online store. If you have a problem, simply visit the Help Center for detailed tutorials. Start a free trial at squarespace.com/AccentTheCinema. Use the code AccentTheCinema and you can get 10% off your first purchase. Don't rely on social media to advertise yourself. Impress your client with a website. Visit squarespace.com/AccentTheCinema today.
They fly now?
Yes, we can see that.
Did it just heal itself?
Yes, we can f***ing see.
What, we some kind of suicide squad?
Show, don't tell is the most fundamental writing principle, and yet so many movies suck at it. Are Hollywood writers all hacked?
This is Katana. She's got my back. I would advise not getting killed by her. Her sword traps the souls of its victims.
My guess is no. For better or worse, this dialogue-heavy style is a conscious choice. Have you wondered why Netflix movies feel so Netflixy?
We barely know each other. We spent a day together. I admit, it was a beautiful day, filled with dramatic vistas and romantic rain. But that doesn't give you the right to question my life choices. Tomorrow, I'm marrying Paul Kennedy.
According to writer Will Taflin on N+1 magazine, streaming platform executives often tell screenwriters to, quote, have this character announce what they're doing so that viewers who have this program on in the background can follow along. In other words, they produce the content for people to disengage with while working, playing video games, browsing TikTok, or, indeed, while you Netflix and chill. The movie is playing on a secondary screen, which you only look at some of the time, kinda like most of you are doing right now. In this context, extended silence means the film has failed to provide the background noise. Visual storytelling risks the story not being followed. And when that happens, viewers may switch to a different film, or worse, to a different activity. Immersion goes both ways. You cannot immerse an audience whose mind is somewhere else. That's why a true immersive cinematic experience is often only found in movie theaters. Going to the cinema means you are committing yourself to a ritual. You let the film guide you rather than exploring at your own pace. Unfortunately, this experience is dying because movie theaters are dying in North America. Let's imagine this. You and your partner are planning a night out in a typical US city. You have to get to the movie theater. Since most US cities have no adequate public transit, you have to drive. Luckily, the mall you come to is dead, so there are plenty of parking spaces. The movie tickets cost $30 for two, more than an hour worth of your wage. You decide to skip the concessions. You had an okay time in the half-empty theater, but after the film is over, you and your partner can find a space to stay and talk about the experience. Multiplexes used to be in malls, because malls were public squares. People could hang out without spending money. It was a place to simply be. But now, malls are dead. So you either go to a bar or restaurant, which costs money, or you go home, which requires driving again. As you mindlessly follow the highway, you think to yourself, this all feels like a chore. This is the death of public spaces. We used to go to the cinema without a specific movie in mind. We used to go and decide on the spot. Back then, if we didn't like anything, we would just leave and go have fun in other places like the arcade. But now, there are scarce few alternatives. Decades of car-centric design and low-density sprawl have compartmentalized our lives. To go out is to drive to a specific destination, not interacting with anything along the way. Privatization and consumerism turn public pools into private ones. The withholding of government funding threatens even public libraries. Wage stagnation made public spaces unaffordable. Everything is more expensive. Going out is a luxury. People stop utilizing the spaces, they feel less responsible for them, and the behaviors reflect that mindset. According to Forbes, more than 1,200 malls have closed their doors in the US in 20 years. Movie theaters are also disappearing. Theaters are dying because everything else around it is dying. In 2020, a global pandemic sent much of the world into lockdown, which accelerated the death of public spaces. Since then, shops opened for shorter hours, prices for going out became much higher. And so, movie ticket sales and box office plummeted, failing to recover to pre-pandemic level. This is also why the struggle of cinema is uniquely North American. Despite the changing media landscape, movie theaters in India and China remain healthy. It's not that people prefer streaming over theaters, it's because people are disincentivized to even go outside. Today, our closest thing to a public square is the internet. It's where we post our movie reviews. It's where we go out and talk. We are losing access to the real world. Film studios, aware of this change, shifted their focus to streaming. Disney+, Paramount+, HBO Max, each studio started their own exhibition service. It all resembles the vertical integration from Hollywood of the past. With exhibition and distribution under one roof, films are now developed with streaming in mind. And so, silence is dead. The worst part is, too many of us have accepted this as the norm. Every public space must financially justify its existence. Everything must be profitable on its own. The mindset is applied to education, public transit, housing, healthcare, TV broadcasts, and indeed, art. Everything is made for money, not for people. And because art is rarely, if ever, profitable, we are left with empty content. We get stuff we consume and forget. We get noise to silence our own thoughts. After all, who wants to think about life when there is so little life to think about?